All right, so Mr. D needs a logo for a company called Infinite Power or Power Pill or whatever it's called. I think it's Power Pill. So the idea is to do a graphic that has an infinity symbol and a plus. So it's basically infinite energy. So I found a logo that is already made in Shutterstock or whatever it is. It's an image bank. I'm just going to drop it in there. And so this is what we have right now to work from. So this is where we got the inspiration from. We're like, well, you know, I can probably recreate that maybe a little better. I don't want the name at the bottom. I want something slightly different. So I drop the image in there, literally drag and drop from my desktop. And it automatically it's on the layer called layer 1. So I'm going to call that image. And I'm going to double click on it. And I'm going to dim that image to 50%. So it's just a little dimmer in there. So it's not transparent, it's just dimmer. And I'm going to lock that layer. And from now, I'm going to work above that layer. So it's going to be a lot easier for me to work from, right? So number one, this image now I cannot select, cannot move it. And now I'm working above and it's dimmed. So it's easier for me to preview my stuff. So the basic structure of this logo is basically two circles, right? And then they kind of crisscross in the middle, right? So you can start with basic shapes. Pick your circle right here, an ellipse tool right there, and you can go like that. And you can try to match the center of your circle to approximately the center of that other graphic right there. You increase the size of this thing. So I press and hold Shift and click on my weight right there. It'll increase by 10 at a time. So 20 is too many. Now I can play with this, right? Quickly like this, I can go, okay, yeah. The problem is you're gonna just try to match things like this and it's never gonna be perfect and perfectly dead on. So an option to do that is, you know, you see the structure. So you see that you have, if you show, first of all, you show your ruler right there. There you go. And you can click and drag from the ruler down there and you can create yourself a guide right here, approximately in the middle of that plus sign right here, and another one right here in vertical right there. Click and drag it from the side ruler, and you have approximately the center of your plus sign right there, approximately. And now you can see that if I match that, well, that's starting to look a little better, right? Suddenly we have a little structure, right? So if I hit my little preview right there, if I switch to outline preview, you can see that my circle is perfectly aligned with my guides. And then things are starting to, you know, look a little better than being improvised, right? So same thing here, keep on going. So I'm just gonna press and hold my Option or Alt on the PC to duplicate the object right there. I'm just making a quick duplicate of that. I'm gonna use my direct selection tool to snap this on the line right there, and then this one right there again on the line right there. So now we have some structure. Again, I'm going to create my plus sign to approximately right here to approximately right there. I'm going to press and hold my Shift key, so it's a straight line, and it's the same weight, right? So I'm staying within my basic object right here. Same weight. I'm going to make the my plus sign a different color so I can see what I'm doing right here. I'm just going to make it red for now, or blue. Yeah, no, let's make it red so we can see it. So you can see that it's slightly shorter. So I'm just going to make it a little longer. You know what? I can't make green and you can't make a red and red because the selection of this particular layer is red. So I'm going to switch it to an orange that I can see. And then what I'm going to do here, I'm just going to select this guy right there. I'm going to copy it. And I'm going to go paste in front. So it's the same object on top of the other. I'm going to switch my tool to my rotate tool, which by default is in the center, which is right in the spot where I want it to be. Press and hold the Shift again, and it goes 45 degree, 90 degree, and you're done. You have the cross right there. You have the little plus sign. And it's perfectly centered, perfectly in the right spot, exactly where I want it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select my orange cross. So first, I want to hide my guide. So I go again into the View menu, Guides, and then hide the guides. I can see that I can select those two. I'm going to group that for now, right? I'm just going to group it quickly. And again, I'm going to copy it. I'm going to use the shortcut this time. And then instead of pasting in front, I'm going to paste in the back, so right behind it. And I'm going to make it white. And this time, I'm going to ungroup it again. Sure, yeah, ungroup it. No, I don't need to ungroup it. I'm thinking out loud right here. I'm going to make it just a little wider so we can see it. It's still not extended out. This is what you can do. You can use a cap, right? So you can do the cap projection, and it's a little too far out, right? So I'm just gonna, reduce it approximately to about that, right? I can see where my little gap is between my blue cross and the gray circle of the original image. I just want to, reduce it to approximately the same thing. So all it is, I'm just changing the width of my my stroke. It's not a big deal right now. It's just for length, right? So I'm just, goofing off right now. So that's one way to do it, right? So you can do that very quickly like this. The other way you can do it is, I'm going to switch that quickly as well. I'm just going to select that orange, press and hold Shift, and then click and drag, and then I select the one behind it. Right? So I'm just going to delete that guy as well. So another way to do it is you literally just copy that again, right? So it's already copied, and then paste it back again. And all you have to do is increase the scale, right? So you stretch it out, basically. You can also do that same thing, right? So make it white this time so we can see what we're doing. You can see I'm completely off, and so I'm going to use my scaling tool until I have it approximately the spot I want. I can't make it. There you go, approximately like that. And then, oh, it's still 17 points, so it's perfect. If I was to use my my scaling tool slightly differently, is you can double click on your scale tool right here. And right now, as you can see, it's uniform, so everything will scale proportionally. But what was turned off was the scaling corner and the scale strokes and effect. So if I had just increased that with this scale and stroke and effects selected, then my stroke weight would have increased between, I don't know, 17 or 18, maybe 19%, because right now it's all at 17%. So as an example, just gonna undo that. As an example, I'm just gonna paste the original one, the original orange one, right? And if I increase that, if I scale it up now, right, you can see my weight has increased, right? Now it's 20 point wide. If I, again, double click on my scale tool, if I turn that off, and I can increase that, I can hit the preview, I can increase the uniformity of the scale. The stroke does not change. If you change that, if you click that on it, then the stroke changes as well. So there's a couple of little things to consider when you scale something up. So we can cancel that. So delete that. So now I have my white and my orange on top of one another, right? And all I have to do is now is, select those two black circles, make those a light gray, like what we had that was about, I don't know, maybe this color, give or take. And I already have a couple of shapes that I can work from, right? So the cool thing now, because I have my original image in the layer, I can just turn it off. Now I hide it. So now, of course, what happens is I have this full circle and I want to get rid of that line. Well, all I have to do is I have to go to my direct selection tool right here and be careful in what you're selecting. But what I want to do is I want to select that path right there, which is between those two anchors, between this one and that one. So I select the path right there, and you can see the arrow switches over to a path, and I just delete that and do the same thing here. I'm going to find it first. There you go. And delete that. So now it's starting to take shape. So the next thing I want to do is I want to select those circles, and I want to go into Object, Path, Outline Stroke. And what it does is this is what it does. When if you switch back to your view to outline, so it's a simple single line, right? And if I switch it over to or expand, there's also expand, but path, Outline stroke or expand are doing the same thing. So outline stroke, what it does is it does this. It turns a stroke object, which you can see in your color right there. It switches from a stroke to a fill, and now it's a block object basically. So this is exactly what I want to do, the same thing. So as I said, expand or path, outline stroke, same thing. Expand will ask you if you want to expand the fill, the stroke, etc., etc. So there's multiple options here, but I'm just going to go, yeah, sure, okay. They do the same thing. So now I have two objects that are now, blocks and fill. I want to do the same thing with my orange cross. Again, expand, both, boom, done. And then I want to do the same thing with my white stuff, my white cross underneath. For the white crosses, I want to make it a little wider because then you see like that little tiny little piece right there, I want to hide it. So I want to increase that, a couple points. And now it looks like it's hiding all those weird corners. Select it again, go into my object, expand, or again, path, outline stroke, done. And now what I can do now, so now of course I have this object right here. For those objects, I'm going to duplicate that guy just to show you on the side. It looks great on it when it's on white, but if I move it to a dark or colored background, then I have that white arrow going, the white cross going all the way around, and I don't want that. So best thing to do, again, I duplicate it. So I always, work from my original right here. And then I start to use my Pathfinder tool. And the Pathfinder tool is just a simple tool. So I'm just going to select that guy. That orange cross right there is not going to change. So I'm just going to unite it. So instead of having two objects, now I have one. Same thing with the white arrow, or the white cross, behind it. I'm just going to unite it. And then I'm going to copy it. I'm using a shortcut, so it's Command C. And I'm going to, so with that white cross still selected, I select that one of those circles, and I go minus font. And now it basically punched that white cross over and through, but it has disappeared here, right? So this is why I copied it, because I can go back again, go pasting font, go to the exact same spot, select the other gray half circle or 3/4 of a circle, go minus font, and boom, there, you're done. And now you have your logo. So coming from this to that, and now they're independent shapes. So now you can go and, because it's an energy drink, we're going to make it like super energetic. No, you know what? Energy, there you go, energy. Yeah, energy. And then this guy and that guy, we're going to use a little bit of color theory going to it. We're going to make it purple. And that is just absolutely awful looking. So it's great. Maybe a bit more raspberry. Yeah, a bit more raspberry. So the original logo being hidden right here. It says company name, your slogan here, blah, 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 boring. Oops, wrong one. I'm going to hide it. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to move those guys a little bit out of the way. Move this one right here. And I'm going to play with this one a little bit. So usually a rule of thumb is you never design a logo in color right off the bat. You always design it in black and white, because if it works in black and white, it'll work in color. And that way, when you present your logo to the client, if they don't like that color right there, my beautiful raspberry there, or if they don't like orange, well, they won't look at that design at all. They will just reject it based only on their taste or their allergy of colors, right? So the best way to do it is you present it in black and white. So you can always use a grayscale, for the black right there. You can always make it like, a shade of gray, just to show them, it's going to be a different color, but at least there's no color. So there's no, as I said, no allergies, right? And then we're gonna, put some type in there. So we're gonna use my type tool, click once in there, and I'm gonna go Infinergy. No, Infinergy. No, that doesn't work. Infinite power. Not quite like the Energizer Bunny, but almost. From now on, I'm going to change that to, I don't have very many fonts on this computer, so I'm just going to use something bold or extra bold, like, Montserrat Black. And then we're going to change that infinite to maybe a different weight, so we can have a different different look kind of thing, so we can see. Medium, semi-bold, bold, semi-bold, semi-bold, yeah. And again, same thing here. You can do what I've done here earlier with the grayscale, right? So I can't remember which level, I use the, come on, yeah, go 70%. So I just want to make sure it's the same one right there. There you go, 70%. So you know that, those loops will be the same color as the word infinite, right? So from this point on, it's just a matter of, fine tweaking the font, the type, and making it, the right size, the right spot, et cetera, right? So you're just, you're gonna, play with that. You can go, which I would do multiple artboards. So you can have multiple versions of. I don't even know if my artboard is open right here. Maybe not. So I'll go Windows, artboards. There you go. And then I'm going to add a couple of artboards, so just 1 and 2 like this. So by default, they always go side by side, but you can change the order of them, right? They rearrange all artboards. I want to make them vertical like this, so it's easier for me to scroll up and down than sideways. So from here, I have my first idea. So I'm just going to, duplicate again, press Option and Shift at the same time, so it stays, perfectly in line. And I'm just going to change that instead of infinite power right here. I'm just going to do that. And then I'm going to first change my type to my paragraph. Sorry, there you go, my paragraph right there. I'm going to align center the text. And I'm going to change my character. There you go, something a little tighter. And I'm going to make power a little bigger. So maybe I'm going to reduce the tracking there a little bit. And that almost does the trick. Almost does the trick. Minus 35. There you go. So now it's the same width. I'm just playing with type quickly, right? It's not, doesn't have to be super tight, but right now I'm looking at the space between those two letters, and they're almost the same as well. So if I put 33, it's too much. 32 and 0.3. Ooh, 0.2. There you go. I'm trying to keep, the same amount of space everywhere, so there's good balance, right? Good visual balance. And it doesn't have to be like right tucked in the corner like this. It can be literally like sitting outside of that, right? So you can literally just make a line quickly like this, just to line things up. Okay, so I want it to be aligned here, and then I want it to be aligned right there. And this looks like crap. So like that. So there's your math right there, where some things are, becoming a little bit more symmetrical. So you can play with that. You can play with the size of the whole thing again. So you can just duplicate that guy again, and then go, you know what? That is great. And those 3 objects there, I'm going to group them quickly, but it's just not in the right spot. So I want to, reduce it. And then maybe there's something there to play with, right? So it's like, oh, suddenly I see an O in there, so maybe I can just do that. Or maybe maybe a P, sorry, maybe it's power right there. So I don't know, maybe, you gotta try things until you stumble upon something that is cool. Right? I want to bring it up so we can manage this thing. Maybe something like that. So I have to get rid of my P to see what it does, right? So I just want to, quickly make it white. Oh, cancel that. Just want to use this. Make it white so it disappears in the background. Is it working? No, it doesn't. So, you try something, right? So just keep it, keep it on the side like this, and then come back to it. Double click on that, make it black, full black. And then that shape right there, again, if I move it to the O, where that O resides, I don't know, maybe not. Maybe it needs to be flipped. You go to reflect tool and then you flip it. Nope, that's going to collide with the W, so that's not going to work. So I give up. I give up on this one. Not going to work. But maybe it's the big point over. Maybe a little bigger. I don't know, just find the right ratio. Again, that shape right there, it should be approximately that plus sign that you have there. Maybe it could be the height of your letters. Approximately, you do that very quickly like this. You just kind of scale it up and down until you find the right size. And it doesn't have to be perfect at all, right? You just, yeah, it's about that. And then maybe there's something there. I don't know. You just put it right on top of the eye right there so it looks a little centered. Select them all and then center it right there. Yes, almost. So you can get away with it. And right away, like you already have, this one thing right there, 2, 3 options right there, fairly quick. So you can see the ratio between the graphic and the letters, what it does, right? So suddenly at that scale, what is readable and what is not. So, and then from there on, then, you introduce color, right? Again, what I've done up here, but you just, first you develop them in black and white, and then you try something very quickly. So this is the way to design something fairly powerful, very easily recognizable at big scale or very small scale, right? So you have a tiny little infinite looking logo. And as I said, with proper colors, proper contrast, you can see it from far or close. And because it's a vector logo, it's scalable. You can put it on the side of a building. You can laser etch it. You can cut in vinyl. You can do anything you want from that point on. You can print it on T-shirt and whatnot. The one thing before let's say I finalize this logo, for example, let's say this is the final version. So I'm just gonna duplicate that guy again. What I need to do first, right now there's a font attached to this logo, which is right here. So it's Montserrat, but there's 2 types, right? So if you send the logo out to your client like this, and they don't have the font, well, they're hooped. They can't open the file. You're missing the font. It's going to give them error messages everywhere. So again, you have to go back into instead of turning into your outline into a solid object, you can go again, expand, right? Or you can go type and create outlines. They do the same thing, create outlines. And then now, if I hit my preview button again, now it's an object versus this being live type, right? So now it's a logo ready to go, right, basically. So now all you have to do is you have to, I use the direct selection tool to select the same color right here. Go into my palette. I had that in orange. And then those guys right there, this gray one, I'm pressing and holding the shift key. And then I switch that to that awful looking raspberry right there. And that is just absolutely impossible to look at. So I'm going to keep it gray. And like this, just like that, you have a cool logo right there. Infinite power. Once this is finalized and approved by the client, you have to go, you have to save it as an AI, so .ai, which is Adobe Illustrator, .eps, and also as a PNG, as a JPEG. So you just have to go export, and you can go shortcut to export as for screens, but they'll all be at 72 dpi at whatever size, whatever. But I prefer to go export as, and it shows you, because there's multiple artboards, of course. For the final version, I would have only one artboard, right? Of course. I'm getting the beach ball right now. So there you go. So as an export right now, I would have to be a PNG. You can save it as a JPEG. So JPEG will have a solid white background. PNG will have a transparent background. You can use the artboards, which will make the graphic that you're making here in pixel based, it'll have the size of the artboard. So in this case, it would be that size of this page right there. You don't want that. You want a graphic that is just this, right? So again, going to my artboard tool right here, and I would have to, you know, scale my artboard down like this, and then my graphic would be this big. When I export it as a PNG or a JPEG, it would have a little bit of a buffer around it, right? So in this case, I haven't figured out the amount of, it's called the safety area, but I would probably pick the height of a letter as my, my safety area. So in this case, it would be approximately this much, and approximately that, oops, the wrong tool right there, there you go. Approximately that much, right? So I would have to make sure that I have that stay consistent all the way around. So all it is, what I'm doing here is I'm just going to select that letter right here. Just going to copy that one and paste it. And I'm just going to make it quickly. I'm just going to make it a super light gray just for demonstration. So what I want to have is I want to have a little bit of a buffer zone, basically a safety area. So here I have, let's see, I'm almost on it. So what I want to do is I want to duplicate that letter right there because that's my height. And I want to bring in one on top right here. So I'm going to snap it to the top. And I'm going to bring it to the side. And I'm going to turn it on 90 degrees like this. Stick it to the side like this, just like the same as I'm doing here. Duplicate that guy again. Put it right here. As you can see, my artboard needs to be expanded a little bit on the right. Like so. A little bit to the left. And then I need to bring it in just like that. And here, bring it up. And now I have my safety area around all my logo all the way around, and it's ready to go. So again, as I export it, export as, so a PNG will have a translucent background, and I can use my artboard. And what it does, it will, you know, and you can pick which range you want. So in this case, it's only page 3, but your final logo should be on its own. It shouldn't be any other artboard, should not be any other graphics, just this guy, one here, and the one and only. So you would call this one, you know, logo color, for example, you know, company, oops, not logo, logo. So I would call it, you know, IP as in infinite power, logo color PNG, there you go, or even RGB because it'll be an RGB, you know, and it's ready to go like this. And then again, so as you just, you know, export it, and you get that 72 dpi screen. That's for web resolution. You can switch it to a 300 dpi, which is much higher res, which I tend to do, because afterwards you can always scale it down, but you cannot scale it back up. And you can pick in the PNG option, you can pick a transparent background, a white background, or black background. And I just want to have that as a transparent. That's why it has that checker pattern in the background. And I go click OK, and that's it. So this one is already ready to go, right? So this one is exported as that. But yeah, so after that, you said you save as an AI and EPS. So these are your vector versions. You export as a PNG and you export as a JPEG. And again, I'm just going to drag that JPEG from my desktop right here, and there you go, it's right here. I'm just going to drag it in, and there's my PNG version, right? So the difference is here you have a vector version on the left-hand side, and here you have an image, that's why it's across, right? So this, if you zoom in, then you see pixels. The other one here is vector, and it's sharp and crisp. That's the difference. So once that I have the color version, I make a white version, I make a black version, and I export in all those possible web formats, PNG, JPEG. For the white version, you can only do a PNG because it'll have a transparent background. If you do a JPEG, it'll be white logo on white. So that's kind of, it defeats the purpose of having a white logo, I mean. So and that's basically it, right? You create a quick logo and you save and export as all those possible versions for your client. And they'll be happy. And they will pay you, hopefully.